Okay, so this video is talking about what it's like to be in a relationship with somebody with borderline personality disorder. And so this is my vlog talking about my survival and my continued recovery from a romantic relationship with a borderline. If you're new to the channel, I am not attacking borderlines. If you are borderline, I'm not attacking borderlines. I am simply helping those who have been on the other end of it, how to recover and how to heal. If you are borderline, the only hope is to go get therapy for borderline. And I recommend you do that for your own happiness, but also so that you do not cause damage. If you want to know the kind of damage that you are causing, feel free to watch this channel to get a better idea if that means anything to you. All right, so borderlines are known for what's called splitting. So the splitting is they're either idealizing you as this perfect parental person, which you perceive as being completely loved and adored, but it's not true love and it's not true adoration. They don't see you. They are projecting onto you what they want to experience, which is they want to go back to infancy and get the love they never got, get the attention that they never got, get those needs met, which of course can't happen because you're not their parent and they're not an infant any longer. But that's what happens when they're loving you and adoring you and you think you found the most loving, amazing, beautiful connection of your life, the emotional intimacy, the sex, oh my God, it's just amazing. I finally found somebody who's going to fix the hole inside of me and who will love me and see me for who I am. Nope, that's not going to happen. And if you listen to the way they talk, I'll do a video on the things that they say that you should listen for, because that'll tell you. But I'll do that in another video. So that's the idealization phase. The other side, which we're going to talk about in this video, is the devaluation. Devaluation sounds kind of like it's not a big deal, like somebody goes, I don't really like that. It's not that kind of devaluation. It means that they completely, totally deny, destroy, and devalue your essence. In other words, it is a direct attack upon your soul and your identity. You will experience it as you don't exist and that you have no value, that on the deepest essence, that you have no worth or value. And what's happening is that they are forcing you to experience what they experienced as infants and toddlers. So as an infant, they did not get the proper nurturing and love and attention that infants and toddlers get, which allows them to create a sense of self. Without that sense of self, you cannot function. It's like trying to drive a car without an engine, or drive a car without a transmission, without gears for it to go in. I mean, you can rev the engine, but nothing will happen. That's what it's like. They have no identity to link everything together, which gives them traction to push against life. You walk on, we have gravity and our feet push against, the earth. It's like that earth isn't there, so they push against it and there's nothing there. That's what it's like for them. It's very tragic. It's a mental disease. You have to understand that they are not fully formed and they do not function in the same reality that you do. They have a mental disease. They need therapy. So the devaluation phase is it's not just that they're disappointed in you. And bear in mind, it's nothing that you did. It just happens to be that they can no longer maintain the idealization phase, because it's not real, number one. And so what happens is when they lose the ability, like they're standing on top of a balloon, it's barely holding them up, and then the balloon pops. Whatever self-hatred, insecurity, shame, they don't just have insecurity, they have absolute self-hatred. They believe that they are the worst, that they have no value, the devaluization. They believe that they have zero value. And so that's why they're so narcissistic. That's why they can be so egotistical. That's why they can have such unrealistic ideals for themselves, and the way they talk about themselves can be very narcissistic. It's because it's a compensation for there being nothing there. And so what ends up happening is that whatever is inside of them gets projected onto you. And bear in mind, whatever they say about you when they are devaluing you is how they feel about themselves. So it's really they're hating themselves. But what ends up happening for you is that you end up having the experience that they had. So they must have had that experience with their parents, who either shamed them for just being human, or did not respond to their needs, which is even worse, I think, or was abusive, or was outright confusing, where one day they would be rewarded for something, the next day they wouldn't get any reward for the same behavior, or they would get punished for the same behavior. So it created this confusion, which makes them feel that they have no existence and they have no value. So you will feel as though you have no value. You will begin to start doubting yourself, and you will start to feel this anxiety within you. This creeping anxiety will start to grow within you, which is theirs. They are literally infecting you with their lack of identity, their lack of self, their lack of self-worth. Again, not just insecurity, but complete, total lack of any self-awareness, worth, value. And so they make you feel the way that they feel all the time. And so that's what's happening. What's happening is that, so bear in mind that any criticism that they feel, if they feel you are criticizing them, there's no such thing as constructive criticism for them. Either what you say has no meaning to them, or it makes them feel really good, or it is a complete, total denial of their existence. So when they feel that you have criticized them, or they feel you have attacked them, because that's what will happen. What will happen is all of a sudden they will, out of nowhere, start telling you how you have attacked them at the deepest level. What's happened is that they have now become conscious of their own lack of identity, and that they have no essence within themselves. And they will think you're the one that's doing it to them, because they're recreating what happened to them as kids. Their parents did that to them. Their parents either outrightly denied their existence or wasn't there, which then the result is I must not exist because mom isn't responding to my crying. So I must not exist. And so you will say something, maybe you actually will. Maybe there will be, something where you're drained. They've drained you of all of your energy, and you get cranky and you maybe snap at them. Sometimes it's just a normal thing, like, hey, watch it, you just stepped on my foot. It could be as simple as that. That was, and one example I have when the idealization phase was starting to fall apart with my ex-girlfriend was, we were in a parking lot for the grocery store. And, I'm the kind of person that I always take my shopping cart back. It drives me crazy that people just empty their shopping cart and just leave it in the, because somebody else will come along and get it. It just drives me crazy. It's just so rude. So whenever I'm done shopping, I will take my shopping cart back and put it into the little shopping cart, thing there. And she was taking things out of the shopping cart, and she just sort of pushed it. And I went, hey. That's all I did. I pointed, I went, hey. Because I was going to say, hey, grab that. I want to go take it in. And she stopped, and she said, don't scream at me like that. And I went, hang on a second. I wasn't screaming at you. I went and I put the thing away. And I came back, and there was this full-on discussion in the car about, I can't be with somebody that's going to be that harsh with me. And if you're going to be that harsh with me, I can't be with you. I mean, you can't yell at me like that. You hurt me so badly. It was like, wow. None of that was happening at all. They are so fragile. You have to understand they are so fragile. No matter what you see in front of you, it is just a thin veneer hiding this complete, total black hole underneath it. And so you can easily pop that bubble. And it could be anything. It could be just a look. That has happened before as well. She was causing a scene in a restaurant because she was having a meltdown. And this was one of the first times it had happened, and I was watching her trying to figure out how to help, because sometimes, people have problems and it's like, wow, something's really up with her, and I'm watching to see what's happening. And she says something, and there must have been some thought within me. I made no facial change, I did nothing. And I was looking at her, and then she screamed at me, "Don't look at me like that!" And then got up and stormed out of the restaurant. And of course, I was shocked, and I responded to her like a normal person. But what ended up happening is that she said, according to her, that for a full 5 seconds, I got really intense, and the pupils on my eyes dilated. And, there may have been something that registered in my eyes, but none of that happened. It was like that. You have to understand that whatever they think is a personal attack is blown out of proportion thousands of times. And so it's nothing that you did. They just happen to, the facade, the fantasy of, you're going to be the one that's going to give them all the goodies that mom and dad never gave. That comes crashing down, and then all of their emptiness comes up, and you are now this horrific person that is literally denying their existence. You have to understand that when they come at you and they start either attacking you, or they disappear on you, or they break up with you, or whatever it is that they do, it is because they honestly feel that you have denied and destroyed their entire existence. That's why they can't tolerate being with you anymore. That's why they leave. And that's why they can go from literally loving you, you are the most wonderful person that has ever walked the planet, to you are the worst person that has ever existed, and I can't have anything to do with you. And the reason why this is so damaging is because you don't know this is going on. You think you're dealing with a person, and what will happen is that this will happen, by the way, when you are most vulnerable. When you are most vulnerable and you need them, and you have invested and you are in them and you trust them, that is when this will happen. And there's a whole dynamic behind that, which is, I also believe, and I haven't heard this enough coming from therapists, but I firmly believe it. What is happening is that the intimacy that is, the real intimacy that is being created, once you've been together for more than, a couple of days, some real intimacy starts to be created as a result of all this emotional intensity and bonding and sex and love. And, you start to really create some intimacy, and that intimacy starts to shatter the superficial illusion that they're trying to create, which again, they're trying to escape their lack of identity. Now, intimacy creates a connection to the identity. In fact, intimacy is when two people's identities start to merge. This is why people fight. Normal people argue because, your narcissism and their narcissism, which is normal, starts to come apart so that you can create a whole unit. True intimacy is you're bonding on an unconscious level, and you literally are becoming one person in a lot of ways. They can't do that with you, borderlines, because they have no person within them. They're nobody. There's nobody home. So when it goes past the illusion and it starts going into what they live with, which is complete emptiness, chaos, and fear, then you become this source of tremendous fear. To them, it'll feel as though you are destroying them. The intimacy will feel like it's destroying them, and they will project that onto you. And so what will happen is that their brain will throw up whatever excuse first comes up that they can project onto you so that they can justify to themselves why they're leaving. That's all that's happening. It's got nothing to do with you. You are not there. You are not a person. You are a video game that they're trying to interact with. They can't see you as a person. Okay? So it's not you. You didn't do it. They honestly believe you are trying to erase their existence. Okay? So that's what happens in the devaluation or the devaluing phase.